start going through this with you. This is the warm-up for quiz 3. You should have had an opportunity to probably at least attempt most of these problems, and we'll go through them together. So the first problem says, evaluate the expression. And a lot of these problems should feel very familiar because we just did them on the practice worksheet. So if you did the practice worksheet, you could have looked on that to help you. So the first question, we know what X is and we know what Y is. First thing that we have to do is rewrite that expression. So we get 3, and then it's 1/2 negative 16. What is half of negative 16? Do what? Negative 8, very good. What is the absolute value of negative 8? Positive 8, very good. So I can break out the absolute value brackets, and that becomes 3 times positive 8. What is 3 times positive 8? 24. The next questions. These are solving absolute value equations. So we're going to figure out what B is. We're going to figure out what X is. First step, you've got to isolate the absolute value. So for this problem, the absolute value is not isolated because there's a 2 in front. So to get rid of multiply by 2, what do we do? Divide by 2. Once I have isolated my variable, I have to ask myself, is it set equal to a positive number? So here, do I have absolute value isolated? Yes. Is it negative? Huh? Is it set equal to a negative? No, so I continue. I'm going to break it into 2 branches. I'm going to have a positive side and a negative side. So once I break apart the absolute value bars, I get B plus 10 is equal to negative 12. Sorry. B plus 10 is equal to negative 12, and then B plus 10 is equal to 12. There's only one step to get B by itself. What do I do? Subtract 10, very good. And it's going to be the same for both branches. Negative 12 minus 10 is negative 32. 12 minus 10 is 2. So my solution set, B, is equal to negative 32 and 2. The one thing that we don't want to forget is that we check our answer. To check our answer, what we can do is we can write it down. 2, and then the absolute value of negative. That's a really good point. It is 22. Because it's the end of the day and I'm tired. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So we're going to plug it in. Thank you guys for stopping me. You guys have a calculator, please use it. We've got negative 22 plus 10 is equal to 24. And then I'm going to write down 2. And then 2 plus 10 is equal to 24. You can easily check these. If I have negative 22 plus 10, that gives me negative 12. The absolute value of negative 12 is positive 12. 12 times 2 is 24. It works. The second one, 2 plus 10 is 12. The absolute value of 12 is 12. 12 plus 2 is 24. It works. They both work. The next problem, what should I do first? Yeah, we should stop, right? Why? Yeah, so even if you put down your answer, you're going to be all flustered and taking your quiz. Please write that statement down. Absolute value can't equal a negative. Okay, absolute value cannot equal a negative. The absolute value is isolated and it's equal to a negative. It cannot. When you're dealing with the inequalities, those are the two situations where you get special solutions. It's either no solution or infinitely many solutions or all real numbers. It's a front and a back. The next type of problem, this is an inequality. So we remembered, or we should remember that that is a greater symbol. And so since it's a greater symbol, we're going to make an or statement. It means you're going to have this or this. For this problem, my absolute value is isolated. So I'm ready to go ahead and start solving. I'm ready to break it apart and I'm going to get two branches. I'm going to get a negative and a positive branch. I need to make sure that on my negative branch, I flip the sign. So it's going to switch to a less than, and then I also change the sign to negative 15. So out the positive side, it remains the same without the absolute value. So the sign stays the same. And then out the negative side, I flipped the sign and I made it negative. I did both. To solve, this is a two-step problem, 2 steps. What is the step I do first? What step do I do first? Yep, I need to add 3. And as I do that, I can go ahead and do that to both of my branches because it's going to be the same. So 15, we get negative 12. And then 18. And then I just have one last step. How do I get x by itself? Divide by 3. Very good. And I can go ahead and jot that down for both of my branches. Negative 12 divided by 3, I get negative 4. And then 18 divided by 3 is 6. It says that you want to find your solution and then you want to graph it. So my solution is, oh, I don't know why I wrote down the 3. That shouldn't be there. So it is that or that. So that is my solution. And then I could graph it. If I graph it, the only two numbers I care about are negative 4 and 6. Would these be open or closed circles? Open. There is nothing underneath the inequality symbol, so you leave these circles open. And then for the negative 4, the arrow is pointing to the left. So I will make my arrow pointing to the left. For the 6, my arrow is pointing to the right, so I will make my symbol pointing to the right. Also, you can remember that when you have an or statement, a greater problem, you're going to have two branches to your graph. This or this. You'll have two branches and you have a greater. And when you have an and, it's shaded in the middle. We just have one last problem to go over, and this is the matrix problem. For the matrix problem, first you want to make sure that you have everything in standard form. So we've got an X column, lovely, a Y column, fantastic, and a Z column, everything looks good. So we are all set up. First thing I'm going to do is write my coefficient matrix. My coefficient matrix is basically the exact same thing, but I don't have any variables. One thing that I do to kind of help myself keep it all straight, I will make a little line, and that kind of symbolizes my equal sign. So I'm going to let you write them down. I'm going to write them down. I go column by column, but you can do whatever you like. Don't forget the negative signs. The next thing that we're going to do is type that into our calculator. I'll see if I can pull up my calculator. You've got your little slip of paper to help you with the commands.
When you click the second entry, it says error.
So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to type in my stuff. So I have to do second. Is that matrix? It's hard for me to see that far. So second and then matrix. And then I'm going to arrow over 2 times to edit and press enter. And then I'm going to type in my matrix. It's a 3 by 4. So I have 2, -5, 1, 3, 2, -1, and then 17, 4. If you didn't get the right answer or you didn't get nice numbers, then you might want to just double check your matrix first. -3, 2, 17. Once I've typed everything in, I want to get out of that screen. So I'm going to have to quit. Second mode will allow me to quit. To type in my commands, you can follow along with the directions that I passed out to you. You'll do second and then matrix. You want to do some math, so you'll arrow over to math. And then we're going to have to arrow down all the way until we find RREF. Do not pick REF. You want RREF, and you press enter. That doesn't do anything unless you tell it which matrix you want to find the row reduced echelon form. So you have to press second and then matrix again. It says names. We want A, so enter. And then if you press enter again, we get our answer. So our answer is going to be 5, 1, 0. What does Z equal? Very good. Z equals 0. What does X equal? 5. Very nice. On your quiz, I'm pretty sure that I ask you one question. So I give you one that's like this, where it's just X, Y's, and Z's, and you give me an answer and it looks like this. The next problem is the people that go and buy stuff at a football game. And in that question, I ask you specifically, how much do hot dogs cost? Or how much do chips cost? Or how much do sodas cost? I don't ask you for all three. I ask you for one thing. If you give me just a list of all three, then I don't know that you know which one is the cost of chips. So if I ask just for chips, only give me the answer for chips. Now, if you write them all down, you better label them as chips are this much, hot dogs are this much, sodas are this much. You'll get credit for that. But if you just write down the answers, I'm going to take off points because you didn't tell me how much one of the things is, whatever specific thing I'm asking for.